Who's they? The government?
Yeah. State.
Powers that be, huh?
I got the stream going, so you guys are.
Right on time.
Had issues with it before, so thank you to Danielle, Penny, and Hannah for setting all that up. Here.
How you doing?
Good, you?
Decent. You got 2 hours of plowing to do after I get home, so.
Where do you plow that much? At your house?
Yeah, well, I say 2 hours. Yeah, it's usually about at least an hour. And if I plow behind the barn, it's, which I probably won't do, but I'll probably wait till the weekend to do that. But
It's supposed to blow tonight, so you'd be wasting your time.
yeah, I didn't even plow this morning. I just get out of that thing. The school bus wasn't coming today, so I said, well, I'm not gonna bother. Because it drives all the way around the house.
Oh, really?
Your daughter, it goes
Yeah,
all the way around the
yeah.
house, so they don't have to pick the daughter up
Right.
in the road.
Yeah,
But they canceled
pre-K.
pre-K this morning, so,
Cancel all that.
afternoon pre-K, so.
All the other kids went though, didn't they?
2 hours.
2 hour delay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it did turn out to be about 9 inches of snow, I think.
It was.
Was it nine?
All of that.
Yeah.
The television line, I think they said 7.5, but when I first went out to dig out the cars, it was like that.
Yeah.
Luckily, it didn't drift bad, it was just,
Right. We ready, Eric?
Yeah, I think we're good to go.
Call a meeting to order of the planning board. And we do have a quorum. Thank you, everybody. Any disclosure of conflicts of interest based on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move to item 2, acceptance of the minutes from the November 13th meeting.
I would move that we accept them as provided.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to accept the minutes as provided from November 13th. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote, starting with Eric.
Aye.
Dave?
All right.
I'll vote yes, and
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Unfinished business. The Fort Bridge is item 1 under that. Anything new happening?
Yes, so on pages 4 and 5 of your packet, you will see the notice that Maine DOT is sending out. They have since, actually earlier today, sent an updated QR code, which instead of just going to the Maine DOT general public, all their public bridge projects, which I think they have 6 or 8 right now, they'll go directly to the Caribou project, so people won't have to navigate that. It'll just shoot them directly to the Caribou Ristic River Bridge project. They are, at this point, anticipating a 5-month closure, so we are working on our outreach efforts and going to be doing a mailer for folks so they can reach out to DOT with comments. DOT also has a survey on that same website as well. But right now, we just got the information this afternoon and are going to be pushing that out on social media. We have a dedicated landing spot on the city website and are working with our departments to come up with an estimate of the financial impact. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
So have you done an on-demand meeting before? That's a new phrase for me.
Yeah, I have not. From
What do you think that means?
So the comment period that they have open, where it's the on-demand meeting, is from Thursday next week, the 17th, through January 9th. So that's about 3 weeks it'll be open, so you can go view the presentation, all the materials. It's on a ArcGIS like mapping kind of page, so you scroll through and you can see maps, you can see the presentation that they have, all the project information with the schedule. it's pretty comprehensive, and then at the bottom, they have links to take a survey, to leave comments. They have the project manager name, whose name is Mark Parlin. We're gonna be including Mark's contact information on anything that we send out, just so folks have a direct contact if they have any questions. I can,
Yeah.
I can show you guys an example of what it looks like if you're interested.
So it'll be a source of information.
Yep, exactly.
Sounds like it's fairly
Like a
comprehensive.
portal type.
Yeah, yeah.
And then a chance for feedback,
Exactly.
or questions, but there's
Yep.
not somebody there interacting with you. It's not.
No, from my understanding, it's not necessarily a meeting, so to speak. It's more of a way to get the information out and kind of have it open as a comment period. But
Right.
maybe there are some more interactive pieces that I'm kind of unaware of. I had one pulled up. My laptop here. But it's a story map, which is a really good way. So this is the landing page for everything. But if you click on a project, this one's in Berwick. It's got like kind of an overview. There's a comment section you can click to. It goes through the scope, schedule. Let's see if I can make that a little less blurry. Scope, schedule. They have like the formal presentation with maps and things like that. All kinds of plans and presentation materials, images. It's pretty comprehensive. So the QR code, and then this is stuff at the bottom. You can leave a comment, take a survey. There's other background information, but I guess that just links to their general public involvement plan. But I know this has been developed over the last couple of years, a little bit before the pandemic and even during the pandemic. So the project will have one of these pages specifically. And again, it will link directly to the Caribou project page instead of this landing page, which just has everything throughout the state. So that's kind of what it would look like. And we'll work to get the information distributed, and now that we have the link from DOT, we can send out some mailers to keep folks aware.
So there's no face-to-face.
Not currently. I think they want to do one in 2026. But I don't have an exact date for that.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you guys.
So did we talk some about having some sort of informational, just ourselves, just scheduling one and organizing one ourselves so people can come? Because not everyone's going to, I think in some ways it's more productive to hear
Yeah.
people back and forth in conversations and questions in a room than
Mm-hmm.
just looking at a static page of.
Yeah. And we had tried to get them to do something like that. And they're particularly set on having it this way and then doing something in the spring. I think doing something in the wintertime, it's obviously harder to get people out in the colder weather. We've talked about scheduling a time for people to be able to come in and view it and have things open here in council chambers for people that might not have computers or something. But we're looking at all kinds of different creative ways to have DOT involved and get them up here to Augusta.
When's the projected start date on that?
Right now, they say winter of 2026, 2027, so about another year.
Yeah. It's going to come fast.
Yeah. But we'll keep you guys updated. We'll try and get them up here as soon as we can to have a more direct face-to-face answer questions type meeting.
Do the local representatives have any clout in this, or it's pretty much a
They're aware of it,
bureaucratic, you know
but-
that, yeah,
I don't know how much,
right.
what they can really do. I mean, they might want to attend the meeting, if it was like a joint city council / planning board meeting, the local reps might want to be there to,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Or we could at least invite them.
yes, I would think so.
So I can write that down for when we do end up scheduling something.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Other questions or comments about the,
Could we contact the governor's office to bring
To
the
request it?
the issue to the governor so that she could possibly support us in our interaction with the DOT?
I don't see why we couldn't.
Because it sounds, or the feeling that I'm getting from our communications so far, DOT doesn't care what we have to say. Just the feeling
This is
I'm
the program.
This is
Deal
what
with
you're,
it.
this is what you're gonna get, and this is how you're gonna get it, and if you don't like it, too bad. And I don't think that's how they should be approaching it. But that, my suggestion, I guess, would be if we're getting negative vibes back from, was it what, Mark Poulin or
Parlin.
Parlin?
Yep.
And, I mean, his title is, he's a project engineer, but I'm guessing there's somebody above his pay grade that's making the decisions, telling him how to conduct the interaction with us here in Caribou. Just a guess, but.
so Eric, have you or Penny talked to this Mark Parlin?
Yeah, we've been communicating with him on and off. He just emailed us back today with a direct link. So we're going to follow up with him on that and try and schedule something.
So he's the connection that's deferring a face-to-face to sometime in the spring?
Yes, that's been my so he's worked with Penny more directly on that than me, but
Yeah.
I know they had talked about having a December meeting, and that kind of turned into this starting the public open meeting concept for December and January. And they can be flexible, I think, if they get enough feedback, so we're trying to make sure that enough people give them comments about a potential 5-month full closure of that bridge and a 22-mile detour through either Fort Fairfield or Caribou, so people really fully understand what that entails, and hopefully they'll speak up.
Yeah. Anything else on this subject? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on the agenda to B, which is updates of the new planning board member nomination. So is this going to be a short report?
Yeah, again, I don't have anything, but I left it on, I'll leave it as a standing agenda item if anybody talks to anybody between meetings or thinks of anything. I keep meeting people from Caribou, and I was just at a training in Presque Isle today, and I thought to recommend it, but I'll have to speak with this person a little bit more.
Should ask Bob White to resubmit his letter to the paper. I don't know if you remember that, but Bob White, when he was on the board, was concerned, he wanted to get off, but was concerned about filling the slots, and so he wrote an eloquent letter in the Roost Republican, which I read, which is why I'm here, which is what I'm saying. But it was well done, and talked about, the responsibilities of citizens and
Yeah.
the importance of the board, and it was good.
See if we can't resubmit it.
Yeah.
It's been-
I'm happy to work up an advertisement for the
Been a couple
paper
of
if-
years,
if
right?
that's the board's
Yeah,
wish.
it's been a while.
That's, I think that'd be
Well,
a
we
really good-
the city posts vacant committee positions.
Yeah.
Yeah. This stood out because it was a letter from the current board member, and
That came from the heart, too.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was, as I say, well done. All right, we'll move on. New business, review options for potential property maintenance ordinance. Pages 6 and 7 in your packet.
So at the last meeting, the board requested that we look at what Bangor has been doing with respect to property maintenance provisions, as well as Presque Isle. I know, I think Dave, you had said Presque Isle had one. There was some fire issues, and I did clarify with Tim St. Peter, who's their Director of Innovation and Code Enforcement, I believe is his title over there. So I had a lengthy meeting with him talking about his experience with that, and it seemed that that was more on the hotel motel side of things during the pandemic, when people were being housed there in the long term. But he did have a lot of insights on a lot of the concerns that the board had, whether it was staffing, liability, the rollout. We did discuss potentially, I know the board mentioned getting something out with the property tax bill. He noted Presque Isle's been able to have special assessments on their property tax bills for something of that nature if there were violations on that. And then also using a permitting software also allowed Presque Isle to be able to track and move violations pretty quickly. I don't believe we have any sort of that software here, so that's another thing to consider. But it was a really productive conversation. They're currently working to develop a vacant building ordinance, and defining a vacant building is going to be tricky. Do you count a store with multiple tenants and all but one are full? There are certain nuances that come up that need to be thought about, so really coming up with that definition for vacant buildings is going to be helpful. So that's kind of my summary of the meeting with Mr. St. Peter and Presque Isle, and I'll be meeting with Annie Craig of Bangor later this week. Or tomorrow, I should say.
So is Presque Isle looking to expand what they currently do?
Yep, they're seeing a lot of the same things that Caribou is experiencing. They have, a 10-inch limit for unmowed grass on properties, and they're really hoping that having this additional vacant building ordinance will kind of supplement their existing property maintenance ordinance, from my understanding.
Were they going down the road of fees?
Yep. It's very similar to what Bangor had used. Using technology, we did talk about running some different things through AI. And while AI is not going to give you a complete ordinance, you can use it to compare it to other municipalities' ordinances and similar size to Caribou. So that's certainly something we can consider. I know, Dave, you've put in some different functions on that for...
AI did not help me much.
Yeah. So I'm, for this and for other efforts, I'm hoping to kind of use that as a starting spot and see, just quickly gather information on what other municipalities have done. But that's a good starting point, along with other models in Bangor. And I'm happy to work on those and answer other questions that the board might have.
Well, thank you for reaching out to Presque Isle and
Yeah.
Tim and having a conversation and providing us with these, the information.
We both recognize that we can learn from each other, and
Yeah.
if he runs into any nuances down there, or I run into anything up here, we'll share with each other and work together so both our communities can prosper and fight blight.
Good. So are we at a point where we might look at a draft of, or are you going to continue some research with Bangor and
I think
similar?
for me, I was looking for direction from the board, whether it's worth going down that road. I know we had a lot of concerns when we talked about it in November. So I didn't want to kind of get too far down the road if the
Mm.
board still felt that those were kind of unresolvable, or,
I've
If-
gathered a lot of information that I can share with you.
yeah, that'd be great.
So I would think it would be worth our while to continue,
Yep, sure.
in my opinion. I don't know how
Yeah.
the rest of you guys feel.
Well, it's challenging, because in the end, we need somebody to implement,
I know.
you know.
That's the key.
And-
But if we get somebody and we don't have something for them to pursue, then
But
we're behind, so I guess it makes sense
to be
being
ready.
optimistic that we're gonna find somebody and, you
I
know,
agree.
and develop a plan, and when that happens, we'll be in a good position.
Makes
We
sense.
do have the property maintenance code, though. It's just that it's not being, not being applied.
Mm.
And it pretty much covers all of the issues with vacant buildings and, you know,
So it works by looking at the deficiencies in the building. There's no fee system, there's no, you have to register as a vacant building, any of that.
if a
but-
code officer were to write up the owner,
Right,
it can be, what, $100 per day to take the owner to court and prosecute them for having the deficiencies in the building in court. The court can fine them, I want to say $100 a day for each day that the violation continues. So in a month's time, with 30 days,
Except we're getting beat in court.
yeah, that's true.
I mean,
It has happened.
2
But
years
if-
down the road.
If it's presented properly and thoroughly, the court should uphold the law, because an ordinance or a code equals the law. But, so that.
so do you think we have enough on the books if we had the manpower?
Well, what my thoughts are,
Yeah.
if we can get the manpower, they have a tool to hit the ground running with. And if we have a code officer, then we, the planning board, and Eric, can bring everything together. So now the newly appointed code officer has additional ordinance dealing with vacant buildings and buildings that are left empty for the winter, and all the problems that can happen with, well, trespassers or vagrants coming to town, which again is a police issue. So we have the tools, it's just a matter of applying them. So the $100 a day, a lot of times that turns into $25 a day. The court may feel sympathetic to the person who's just can't afford to paint the house, you know, just can't afford to replace the broken windows. And then we have the owners that just kind of walk away.
Mm.
They don't care. But I think, you know, the first item here, staffing, you know, that is the most important part of this. But
And the existing Article 3 Property Maintenance Code in the city's charter and ordinances really leans on referencing the International Property Maintenance Code,
yes. yeah.
which is from 2015. So to Steve's point, I think having this all organized and having it all locally written out while referencing the Property Maintenance Code is good. I think that would certainly help our case if something does go to court down the road for enforcement. But I also agree with the board about having something in place, and I guess shovel-ready is not really the right term, it'd be more enforcement-ready would be the term,
Hopefully not to use the shovel,
yeah.
but that might work too.
Shovel or a mower. And I apologize, I don't remember which boards I've mentioned this to. I think I've talked about it at the development committee, so Dave might have heard this already. There's a gentleman who owns a business that specializes in property maintenance for abandoned and blighted properties, whether it's mowing, he'll do windows, he'll do doors, I believe he does roofs, who wants to work with the city. So if we have an ordinance like this in place, or we make progress on the land bank discussions, and there's either city funding or some sort of a mechanism to pay this gentleman for his services, he really wants to work with the city to clean up some of these properties. So if we can come up with a mechanism to do that, I know he's very interested.
When we worked on our blighted ordinance, doesn't city council have authority to remedy certain situations? Did I just dream this up, or wasn't that written in?
You mean like go
Like-
mow a lawn if it needs to be mowed,
Yeah,
and then send somebody the bill?
yep.
See, tall grass is considered rat harborage. So if you have a lawn that's not mowed, rats love that. They can scurry around from one building to the next.
Yep.
But,
Well, likewise, it would hold true for bags of garbage that doesn't get picked up.
yeah,
The council could say,
yeah, health and sanitation,
So again, we have those on the books.
yes. And I've suggested this in the past, but in order to show the court that the city of Caribou is serious about the issues, and that the city of Caribou has tried to work with the delinquent property owners, for the city council to schedule the delinquent property owner to come to the podium and confront the person in an attempt to work out an agreement, a consent agreement, where the violator agrees to the terms of the city council in a time specific, 30 days or whatever. And then if the delinquent property owner still doesn't rectify the system, the problems, then for the city to go to the court and to show that interaction as having tried to work with the person who's ignored the council,
that carries a lot of
you
weight.
should win the case.
Yeah,
But
should.
Caribou has never been interested in considering.
Maybe it's time.
We were speaking of a community in southern Maine earlier, before everyone got here. And that community had 3 selectmen. I used to be the code officer there. And they would function in that manner to negotiate with people that had done what they shouldn't have done. I remember one meeting, I suggested a $16,000 fine. But the applicant, or the violator, who was a contractor, said, well, no, I can fix that myself for $8,000. The 3 selectmen all agreed, okay, $8,000 then. He stood at the podium, took out his checkbook, and wrote the town a check for $8,000. So there are things that can be done. The courts are busy. You know, for us to be bringing a list of civil cases is taking up time where they could be dealing with criminal cases. So, again, the planning board can't do these things, but the city council can act as the legislative body. But, so anyway, you know, there's ways to make these things work, I guess.
Options.
Yeah, the city council can act as the code enforcement officer, de
There's some-
facto.
Yeah, but again, I guess maybe they're looking at it as a political stance in the community. You know, to be elected to the council, and the public finds out the council is actually finding people that have let their properties go into disrepair, could be the people aren't going to vote for that councilor next go-around. I don't know.
But it could have the opposite effect too.
It could.
I don't want to go stand in front of a podium and tell them I'm going to replace this broken door. I'll replace it and be done with
It's
it.
so simple to follow up on those
Yeah.
things, but
True.
We need someone to ride around and do it.
Yep. All right, any other input? Okay, we'll move on to item B, animal control calls and possible ordinance considerations. We have some information in our packet that Eric's gathered from our police department.
And
You-
thank you to the police department and Chief Saucy, not only for all they do, but for being so forthright with all this information and very responsive. They're clearly very open to updating any standards or going in just about any direction the board might want to go. Many of the calls were loose or found dogs. A couple were, and these were my terms, not the PD's. The PD had descriptions, and I kind of tried to categorize them to make it a little bit easier to digest. And those were the big 6 or so that I saw, and the exact complaints are listed in the materials that are provided on pages 9 to 14. I'm happy to answer any questions that the board might have on that.
So this table is your rendition.
So the table, they sent me the table, but I did reorganize it by complaint instead of by date.
But
Oh,
the-
that
but this
table,
is-
yes, yes.
That's
That-
what you did.
Yep.
You looked at the list and
Yep.
counted, and
Yep.
that makes it much more
Meanwhile.
friendly. Yes, you gotta,
uh,
meanwhile,
I
you have a
took
loose,
some time to disseminate and make some changes to our present ordinance, which is called Chapter 3. I looked at Presquile's, and I liked their format, and I've borrowed some of their titles, and I think it would behoove us to rename that Chapter 3 to call it Animal Control Ordinance. It encompasses more. It has, it gives us the leeway that we need to maybe add a Section 5, which would come to animal cruelty and abuse, which we've had some of that brought to our attention. And I spoke to Trish at the Bangor Police Department. Bangor handles all of their animal and domestic issues. They are empowered by the state, by the city of Bangor, and they control all of that. Trish runs that. I ran a lot of this stuff by her, and she was in agreement. Especially where some people have issues with animal cruelty and neglect and abuse, and she thought it would be wise to maybe tread lightly but bring that to the forefront so the police officer has some leeway to act on it, because if it's a serious case, what she told me one of their biggest problems was is if Bangor got involved with an abused dog, okay, after the second violation from the same owner, she said it's a mountain of paperwork, because they got to fill out a bunch of paperwork, and then it goes to the state, which you spoke highly of with their section Title VII, animal abuse.
Yeah.
And then the state has to take over at that point, but she wanted to just caution us to give our officers enough leeway to make an informed decision. And a lot of times it's just a warning, but it's an officer, so they're gonna pay heed to that more than they would getting phone call or a visit by Eric or whoever our code enforcement officer is. She said Bangor's had good luck with that. So anyway, what this boils down to is I have a rough draft. I'm gonna give that to that gentleman over there that has the ability to put all the data that I have scribbled and put together, and at our next meeting, we will have a rough draft of a proposed rewrite of Chapter 3 called Animal Control Ordinance.
I think we used to have an animal control ordinance. Somehow it seems to be deleted from the book. Because I remember issues where people might have had, let's say, 6 dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking that we had come up with a limit of 4 dogs per household or some. You can't limit cats, I guess, being that cats aren't considered domesticated animals, but dogs are. So what I think, if I remember right, if you were in the R1 and R2, you were limited to how many dogs you could have. I couldn't, when I went through the ordinance in my book.
Couldn't find it.
Nothing even along those lines. So somewhere after I left, evidently, they must have deleted it or just took it out of the book.
I can see if Danielle has that in the clerk's office somewhere, because I had that same thing. We had heard about, not being able to enforce things in the urban compact, or outside of the urban compact.
Right.
And hearing you say that RC1 and RC2 language,
Because
that definitely makes sense.
I remember going into a consent agreement with an owner that had, I want to say, 8 dogs. And when we enacted the ordinance, putting the 4-dog limit per household, the agreement was as her dogs died, when she got down to 4, if she lost one, then she could replace it. But she could keep the 8 dogs until they just died of their own accord, down to the number 4.
Was this specifically for Caribou?
Caribou, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was repealed in some manner when PD kind of took over. I shouldn't say took over, but they generously offered to take control of the animal control stuff.
Well, we had an animal control officer
Yeah.
who worked through the police department.
Yep.
And I think he just retired or said, no, I don't want to do it anymore.
And in the name of cutting costs, they generously offered to take that over, and they've been great to work with. So maybe that was that happened in one fell swoop.
Could be,
Could have
yeah.
been.
That's all I got, Mr. Chair.
You got quite a lot there, David.
Wow.
Thank you for taking the initiative and investigating and providing some material for future discussion.
It's time. The time has come.
It was interesting in reading your information, Eric, that the police didn't see it as that large of a problem.
So,
Although it's quite a list.
yeah, I think anytime they've run into a lot of these properties that I think Dave has been referencing, their inspections with the state have checked out, or it's been a commercial kennel, and I know we've mentioned that it's not just the commercial kennels, it's a lot of the residential uses too.
Right.
And I will say, the assessment in the memo is basically just my, I would want to clarify that that's not the, necessarily the words of the police department, but my assessment of their data and with respect to how many calls we get on
Yep.
animal welfare versus lost animals. Yeah, they've been very willing to work with us and quick to provide information, so thank you to the police department for that.
All right.
And there is a section in my rough draft as far as running at large, animals running at large. It addresses that, and it gives us the option to impose a fine system. Whether we can collect it or not is another thing. but,
Sure.
Similar to an overdue library book.
Yeah. I think
Yep.
you will find in the loose dog category that he's put together, there's probably a lot of repetition. Like one household might have 6 or 7 of these loose dog incidents. In talking to the chief. Failure to construct a containment
Right.
or using a rope instead of a chain, so they gnaw through it over and over again. Anyway,
The Bangor standards that I think Dave was referencing are pretty comprehensive, so
Oh.
I definitely have some work on both that and property maintenance language, so I'll be kept busy for sure.
yeah.
Good. All right. Thank you, David. We'll move on to City Council liaison. We have any communication from the City Council this evening?
Not that I've known, I don't think I have anything.
Yep, no, that's fine. Staff report?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was the bridge work. The development committee is working on plans for properties such as behind Cary, in very draft form, and then also Bird's Eye at some point. So I hope in 2026, I don't know if that'll be March or that'll be December of 2026, hopefully sooner rather than later. The planning board will see something from the development committee or from a private developer who picks up where the city committee's left off, so we're working on that. The housing needs assessment is still underway. We expect to have the needs assessment wrapped up in January. The Riverfront Master Plan, we're developing a survey for that, that the Riverfront Committee is gonna be reviewing at its meeting on Wednesday evening. At that meeting, they're also gonna have the Development Committee present, to talk about reuse of the train station. Let's see, what else have I been up to? I think that's pretty much it for planning board related stuff. Don't have much by way of development projects. There was someone who wanted to open a daycare, I heard, and Troy Haney was able to give her my contact information, so I really hope that she reaches out.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of resources to help businesses like that, whether it's growth council, whether it's facade improvement. I'm really excited to work with people and help existing businesses in Caribou, but also attract new ones.
Sure. Very good. Next agenda item is executive session for consultation regarding pending litigation pursuant to 1 MRSA Section 405-6E 80-B appeal.
So I believe, and Penny might be coming down, that would require a vote to go into executive session. I know that they do that for council.
Yeah,
Um,
so we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to go to executive session.
And I'll second.
Moving and seconded to go into executive session as indicated in the agenda item I just read.
Oh, come on, read it again.
All those in favor, we'll start with Steve.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Yes?
And Eric?
Yes.
We're unanimous. We'll now move into executive session.
so,
This is gonna be a first. Huh?
Yeah, you've never done this?